Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Ulrich.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we are giving you some more of the monthly tournament Rang. What are we bringing to the fray today?
Well, on the left-hand side in the blue, we have Khers Foxes playing 14th Infantrie. We have a Maverick Income. Right-hand side in red, we have HerrRobert playing 7th Estonian. Also, we have a Maverick Income.
Fascinating. So we did see ourselves a ton of T-26s coming on in against 14th Infantry, of course. They might get matched up against those P2 Luxes, but it doesn't look like we're going to be very Luxy so far in this opening.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty standard infantry brawl between both of these divisions. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty even matchup. I mean, up north, both sides going pretty heavy for the town, which isn't all that surprising.
I think the surprising thing for me is that there's this so much Estonian infantry. It's like there's nobody left in Estonia.
Yeah, he's just using a lot of these pioneery or superior PPSH, while Estonian troops have rather odd names. It's like they have a different language or something. So very good opener, yeah.
Well, I like the fact that we have this control of the bridge and can actually pick up two very cheeky flags over here from Foxes. Or Khers, excuse me. Now, Khers, for his part, he's going for looks like a Airstats MG battery down to the south with one MG42 fronting it. That's supremely fascinating just to see the kind of craziness. There's no infantry getting across the front lines for that. Of course.
No, that's a ridiculous amount of firepower.
Unfortunately for him, I mean, there are still Su-76s and T-26s, though to that end, he is still being given enough vehicle support that shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Yeah, that was absurd.
This down south, Khers has like a Stug platoon backed up with a Tiger. This is absolutely ridiculous, this little battle group he has down here. It's a pretty heavy duty, but he should be able to break on through. It's really not much on the Estonian side on the right up here. It's really just HerrRobert pushing very heavy up north, still holding on to that little bridgehead, so to speak, the superior PPSH or PPS.
And that's the thing, though, too, is that it's true that the 7th Estonian over here has some anti-tank, but a lot of the anti-tank here is really just going to be that infantry-based kind of PTRD stuff. So again, standard kind of Soviet division, and good lord, I didn't appreciate how many are there. That's like a Christmas tree's worth of Soviets.
I know, that's just so bloody many. He's got T-26s backing him up. This is... yeah, it's scary. That's all I really have to say. That many bloody DPs.
It's rather superior. I mean, if they were superiors, but, you know.
yeah, I don't know if Khers is really going to be able to get back into that town. It's just such a ridiculous amount of firepower. You're going to need an off-map and just nuke this, like, from orbit.
So, worth mentioning, there's still a Tiger down south, but all of the Stugs have actually getting rocked and socked here because there's the 76-2 behind, and the T-26 is along with the Su-76, now deceased, but still devastating that vehicle push.
Yeah, this hasn't been a great opener for Khers so far. HerrRobert's done a fantastic job in just drawing all of the flanks, so to speak, and he's been trading very effectively up north and down south, so he's doing really well.
Absolutely, but we are going to see some P2s up to the north, and this is not going to be the end of the Soviet infantry, but it might be the beginning of the end, because those light vehicles, those autocannons, are just so stinking good against soft targets.
They are pretty good, but we also do have a lot of T-26s being brought up.
Yes.
Counteract this. And frankly, I think the Panzer IIs are going to run out of ammo before they do any serious damage here.
That's true. That is true. That is the kind of the minor issue, is that the autocannons are great against infantry in the open, but they are less good against any kind of actual fortified position here.
Yeah. God, that's just... I'm so overwhelmed. So the Germans are just how much infantry is up north here from HerrRobert.
Yeah,
like, what a fantastic push.
It's so crazy, because normally this is an occasion though too, where such a huge investment early on should theoretically be resulting in an entire other flank being destroyed. But that's not the case here at all. HerrRobert still is holding a decent line to the south.
Yep.
Checking down to the south for a second. Actually, we saw Strooping with MP44s moving in. Yeah, this is more of a loose kind of saving grace, because I still don't think they're going to get there in time to help out the big lead pioneers. Just way too many less curates coming the other direction.
Yeah, and those guys are all armed with semi-automatic rifles, which gives them pretty good firepower. And then the 2 flamethrower teams on the flanks, if he times it correctly, can pretty much wipe out all the German infantry on the hill.
And he's going to time it correctly here. He's definitely going to time it correctly. Let's see. Oh boy. 3 Su-76s coming into the northern side. And while there has been a chunk of the Soviet material that has been forced into cover for the moment, there's grenadiers who should have been the kind of counterpunch that was necessary. Not really punching anything, but just dead air. And they actually are joining them in that same death here at the same time.
Yeah, Khers really can't do anything in that town unless he completely levels it. Any infantry or tank push is just going to fail. Way too much. Well, I'd say armor, but it's really just T-26s. It's just way too many bodies you have to blow through to actually make any decent progress. And HerrRobert can just keep throwing bodies on the problem.
I do like the Flak 38 that's been called in just the right time. There's been, oh yes, we're going to see ourselves in an anti-air position to fight back against that artillery position. Still not enough. Wow.
Nope. Enough to make it a little less accurate, giving the IG a little bit of a chance. The BF-109 coming in clutch, getting the kill.
But there's an awful lot of Soviet air power there too. So I mean, it's not like there's a incredible amount of safety still existing in this particular moment.
Yeah, like in the deck, Khers really only has that 1 card of 109s and a single napalm card, while Robert is definitely bringing more heavy air power. Actually, quite a lot of recon planes on HerrRobert's side, so I'd be curious to see if he does actually use them.
Well, we are seeing some rather, let's say, opportunistic strafing runs here. Nothing too crazy, but still some. And indeed, what the heck is the 14th supposed to do against such reckless hatred?
Honestly, at this point, I would say the town's it's compromised, it's lost. Really, Khers' best play is probably just try to play down south, capture the opposite lung, capture the southern hill, and maybe if he does capture the opposite lung, then he could maybe maneuver his way up north and capture a flag or 2 and get some sneaky flanking maneuvers onto the northern town.
You know, I do find something rather interesting is that we have the Tanko Desantnikud over here down to the south, and these guys are kind of, it seems like they're just being set to ambush anything coming up the hillside. I'm not really sure why the Soviets are even bothering going down the hillside. We've already seen that there's a plenty of ersatz material coming on in. Just sit back and let it come to you. That stuff's not going to take a 45 position, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and there's really no meaningful maneuvers you can make off that hill. You just have to be the king of the hill, so to speak. Like the tiger. That tiger's definitely a king of that hill.
Well, he's not going to be king for long, because he's going to be king without his crown, let's put it that way.
Oh god.
IL-2 stepping into the attack, and that's definitely going to be a kill. Tiger is not going to be able to move quickly enough. Oh no, not even remotely. There we go.
Nope. The joys of using heavy tanks in 1v1s to get clustered immediately before it can do anything good.
I believe the correct term is a Fustercluck.
Yes. But yeah, that Tiger is such a huge piece of firepower down south here for Khers. I mean, he still has a decent amount of anti-infantry firepower, but it definitely slows him down a bit. Fortunately, there's no enemy tanks, so I think of just the overwhelming amount of machine gun fire he has. I think taking the southern hill is going to be a bit deadly, but maybe he can get onto the lung. Be a pretty good position. He is still trying to push up north, and is actually getting a foothold into the town, but it's really because HerrRobert's just baiting him in by holding fire.
Yeah. And this is one of those moments that it's going to just be a storm of firepower going out, and it's going to get ugly really quickly.
Yeah. Cry it. To cry it. Yeah, and the SVTs open up.
Well, the one thing I feel like he should be doing, though, is, okay, you're engaging now. Turn everybody off hold fire.
Yeah. I think it's a micro mismanagement. Yeah, I think he initially put him on hold fire to stop the stunk from selling him completely. It's kind of a classic move. Especially if you're holding the edge of the town. But now the infantry getting in close, You want to start blasting.
But now the IG-33 is also there to kind of support, which is not going to be a pretty sight either. Yep, and this actually might be the way that Khers gets back into this town, is just a... Oh, there we go. They're being taken off full fire now, and this is where it gets ugly.
Oh, and there's the off-map as well. She's not going to get much of a foothold here for any longer. LA5 coming in. Oh,
no.
Never mind.
No, how do you... I think... if he was not under any kind of stress whatsoever, he had it, but that stress pulled it off quite a bit.
Yeah, Trenny buying a little bit more time for the IG-33. Hanjo alone on the gun, having to load, aim, and shoot it. Probably a pretty tiresome task.
And a thankless one at that, too. Nobody kind of give you applause, nobody give you a hand. I mean, you can probably pick up a hand off the ground, but...
There's a few reviews, maybe some likes as well.
Exactly. I'd certainly give you a leg up on the competition, that's for sure. But the laugh coming on in, and I believe Hans is going to... Yeah. Yep, he's going Hans free.
Yeah.
152 in the meantime, actually doing more damage, I would argue, to the Soviet forces that wouldn't have been to anything German in that particular town, which I find mildly amusing.
Yeah, the artillery coming in a little bit too danger close here. The Stug is still alive, but not much ammunition left. But the main thing, at least, Khers does have that one flag by the bridge. I think it's really just securing that flag and then recapturing the run all the way far north is really his best damage control up here. At least the one good thing for Khers. This is only a +1 point bleed, and both of them have the same income. So he does have a bit of time to try and dig his way out of his hole.
Panzer II down to the south is going to find himself running rather afoul. Oh no, he's going to get out of there in time. I think he did hear you about the lungs, though, because we are seeing a push from west to east. And while there still is a push to the north, that's kind of, I think, going to be rather stillborn here.
Yeah, it's way too much. He's doing it again, this time Begley Grenadiers in the open, which is pretty race for these guys to be much better down south securing the lungs.
Yep. That's the last time we could force into a retreat there.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things we haven't really talked about too much is the fact that we are now in Phase B. And Phase B should not be super terrifying for the Germans, except for the fact that, oh wait, there's a potential of having 16 T-34-76s.
And those Churchills too, frankly.
True.
I mean, they're gonna take 5 minutes to get to the bloody front line, but that 6-pounder does not screw about when it comes to shooting stuff, and it's also pretty well armored. It can take on those. It's a pretty even matched up against the Sug, so the Sugs just have a slight advantage in a way. I guess the Churchill does shoot double, even though it has Rust Pen. Anyway, Churchill is a good tank, is what I'm trying to say.
Just like the IL-2 over here is also a great cluster bomber, and I think he's missing because you blind dropped there. So very, very lucky on that Stug. The flak really not going to do, anything, really. And
pretty
looks
hard
like,
to shoot down a flying tank.
And the lung, in the meantime, actually the lungs looks like it's going to be falling back into Soviet control, especially with the support from the Su-76.
Yep.
I understand the idea of turning off the hold fire, but then I was been thinking about it for the last couple of minutes here. If you're up at the Stug G, which is the one I think that was over there in the first place, it didn't really matter much if it fired off every last bit of HE, because the HE is really quite underpowered. He wasn't going to achieve a whole lot. I mean, you even said so yourself. But the only way into that town is the over-application of high explosives.
Yeah. He definitely is going to need a lot of high explosives to get into that town. We are seeing more Sugs being brought in, but honestly, HerrRobert's infantry is starting to take some pretty, not heavy, but mediocre casualties up north here. A lot of these guys are down to half or under left. I still don't feel like it's a good idea to keep pushing up here unless he brings in the off-map. He doesn't even, he does have enough available to him in B phase, so now would be the time to bring it in. He's bringing an IG-33 as well as a whole heap of infantry down south here. which I do like to see. If he can secure that southern hill, Foxes will be in a pretty good position.
Well, the Tiger Fuhrer certainly can help that out. Keep in mind, though, the Su-76 does have those basically what amounts to APCR shells, and can kill. It probably won't, but it can kill.
Comes LA. Oh, going after the MG42s. We also have the Andrusha here, so HerrRobert can definitely buy a bit of time. Is he aiming at the Tiger? Yep, he's aiming at the Tiger. I wonder if he get the kill. I doubt it, but Rose is still division, you never know.
Well, probably not on the first barrage. I would say the second one. Now, the unfortunate thing for him here is, if he had known about this German infantry coming up the hillside, yes, it's worth trying to kill the Tiger. But at the end of the day, Tigers are scary. Infantry wins the battle. You have to still kill the infantry.
Yeah. And the Andrusha strike, actually might kill a flag villain, because he's so bloody close.
Not with that scatter, he's not. He certainly, made some guy need to change his pants here, but he's not getting a lot of kills.
Yeah, all bark and no bite in that strike.
And in the meantime, Mustad's coming on in over here. This is basically the Estonian Airsoft troop, as we can kind of see. I mean, they do have 4 MP40s as opposed to just being completely carbine or bolt action. But with the support of the Su-76s, the MG42 is going to have a lot of trouble, and there we go. Falling to death there.
Yep, and really it's coming down to Khers' push down south here for all the big leads. He definitely has enough firepower to secure his hills, not a whole lot here from HerrRobert. Mainly Robert is trying to secure his central lung back. And frankly, with tanks, he does have the firepower to secure it.
Well, because the Tiger can't really risk peeking its head out of its hole for anything longer than a minute or two.
Yeah. And that cluster bomber can always pop in and say hello with clusters.
Well, here in the meantime is the end of that Airsoft push, so that is very much kaput.
Yeah. But so far, Robert's in a great position. I mean, he also has time because they both have the same income, but he's got him down on a +2 right now, and if he can keep it up like this, he pretty much has the victory, and he has really good momentum still. I mean, these northern attacks keep failing time and time again from Foxes, so he has this pretty much under a lock and key.
I do think part of that, though, is misattribution, let's say, of what forces are under control. Like, I agree with you. I think the earlier comment that you made, ooh, Tiger goes down to the south. I think the earlier comment that you made is extremely appropriate, and I kind of feel like were I Khers, I would have stopped trying to throw good money after bad. Second Tiger, I think, is going to go down if these flak fearlings... Oh, no. Okay. Oh. Tiger got lucky here.
Got enough anti-air to protect Yak Cat. But I wonder how much damage Yak Cat's going to do.
Well, with a site damaged, probably not a whole lot.
He's going to make sure his recon infantry are his eyes and ears. They're probably shouting at the tank, shoot right!
It's probably pretty accurate.
No, left. You're a little bit off.
Up a bit.
Oh.
Now, what's that? Oh, no, okay. I thought we actually were going to have some ground attack over here from the German Luftwaffe. But nope, Bf-109. Coming in, going after the left, but he's not having a left today. He's just forced back ignobly.
And we've got like a lot of counterattack here in like the southern center here from HerrRobert, just piling in the Smerces and the Mustad to try and make some headway. Out in the open, it's gonna take some pretty heavy machine gun fire, but he just has so much bloody infantry he can kind of just afford to do this.
Well, he's had a lot of infantry overall. I don't... Ooh.
Whoa! I was not expecting that.
What I was going to say is that when the Smurf stuff goes down, that's when the push really starts to break down.
Yeah. Really bringing in the heavy firepower and keeping those mustache all ready to go unwillingly. But yeah, okay, it's the SU-85, and that should be the end of the Stug if he gets an efficient trade here.
Shockingly enough,
so
that Stug, yeah, because the SU-85, I don't think you can see him yet.
I think he was fast moving and did an attack move.
That would explain a lot more. So I was trying to figure out why the heck you would not be able to see. But yeah, that will do it.
Mm-hmm. That's a dead SU-85 here. But yeah, we're on the C phase now, so things on both sides will start slowing down a little bit. In terms of attrition, I mean, it's pretty even, all things considering. Both sides have pretty similar amount of infantry and armored assets available, so it's pretty even Stevens. HerrRobert definitely still has the lead, just thanks through his fantastic momentum. And up north now, with the Churchills in the battlefield, they are starting to destroy a lot, and HerrRobert's managing to move a little bit out of the town.
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it? And a lot of these troops are guys that were there pretty much from the word go, which is kind of impressive. That's a lot of force maintenance from day to day.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's Northern Puss here from HerrRobert. That's going to get him another flag, which should bring him up to a +2 once he kills that Grenadier up north. This is a great push here. I mean, Khers has kept throwing, like, attack after attack up north, where he no longer has any forces. And now in C phase, it's going to be more expensive to defend against just this much goddamn armor and fire support.
Well, and we are seeing discipline actually being utilized to its solid effect here to keep a lot of the Soviet infantry on the field, which I think is one thing that I would like to see more of, is individuals trying to counteract the debuff that had Khers from having disheartened troops.
Mm-hmm.
But not a particularly popular thing. Yes, sir?
Yeah, no, with 7th Estonian, you definitely see it a bit more because Smersh, compared to NKVD, are actually a pretty good frontline troop with a machine gun and SMGs. So they can actually hold their own quite well.
Which I get, but I feel like even if they're holding their own one way or the other, I still feel like there is a lot of opportunity to just kind of force multiply for adding in, a 15 or 20 point unit. This is one of those things that I feel like you need to be utilizing consistently.
Yeah, it definitely is a good call, especially when using the Musters, because they are really bloody good for training points.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And you can see that happening actually right about now. So first of all, Churchill's not engaging these Stugs, which is going to be rather a bit of a mortal mistake here. You can see all of these burning husks, except for one, I think, represent Soviet fighting platforms.
Yeah, it's just because there's like a slight incline, so to speak. So the Churchills will spot the infantry first, shooting them, and the Stugs come in and shoot them in the side. But yeah, it's just going to be a dead Churchill and a very good kill job, because that's exactly what he needs. Managing to force back out push.
Now, one thing we haven't seen a whole lot of is we haven't seen the Ju-88s. And I'm getting the feeling here the Ju-88s could have been very, very good dropping their bomb loads over here in the northern town. I'm actually a little surprised there hasn't been anything like that.
Yeah, honestly, one or two good napalm strikes, follow up with infantry. That probably would have run quite well trying to secure the northern side, but alas, we did not. He's much more willing to take IG-33s instead, which is still a pretty good unit, but like I said, he really just needed an off-map artillery strike in that northern town attack.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you, even knowing that there were 81mm stovepipes there.
Mm-hmm.
But let's
when it's just that much forces, you really just need the off-map.
Absolutely. But earlier on, I feel like there still could have been a chance to slow up the arterial, slow up the initial breakout. And I think there was just way too much of an investment into that super early Tiger.
Yeah,
so,
that's the classic problem of using heavy tanks in 1v1s, is the Tiger is honestly one of the better heavier tanks to get. It's better than the Panther in my opinion, but it's such a juicy target. Yeah, you just see IL-2s and rocket runs and everything target the bloody Tiger. and then it usually dies before it does any meaningful damage.
Like, right now, for a sec, we are going to see just those recon planes coming in with all those rockets. And it's blowing apart. They don't even need to really worry too much about what kind of German armor is on the field, because all they're really doing is just targets of opportunity, just consistently. Over and over and over again.
It also doesn't help we don't have too much heavy AA here from Khers' side, really just 20mm trucks and the flak villains, which, I mean, the flak villains are good, but not having any 88 or 37 mils definitely hurts you in trying to stop the bombs from dropping. Really, a 20 mils are better for just, you know, cheap deterrent of stress and stuff. And hey, look, the Tiger dies. What a surprise.
Honestly, I'm watching the Grenadiers and the Elite Grenadiers try to push back into that town and picking off a couple of small units here and there. They're going to be able to take a small portion of it, but the overriding piece over here to the northern side, no one's really going to touch.
Yeah, it's so a whole heat of Estonian infantry. Quite a few of them have SVTs.
Well, the ones that don't have SVT still have submachine guns for close-in support. Like we're seeing right now, actually right around the lungs, a lot of Mustad, Matlids, had these guys had a smirch here, these guys would have made it entirely across, and I would argue would have a, probably 40% chance of actually driving back the Germans on the hillside opposite.
Yeah.
As it stands right now.
It's funny how the runs which are on just the bottom of the slope aren't being shot at, but the guys who didn't get close enough are getting shot at. Funny how geography works.
I'm pretty sure Les Morissette would call it ironic. Incorrectly, of course, just like her song, but she would call it ironic. But you're right. It's a little bit bizarre there. Just like it's a little bit bizarre to drop cluster bombs on an infantry attack, but hey.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different Soviets, so.
But yeah, HerrRobert now in a +2, and he pretty much has this game in the bag.
Yeah, how about
so much more stuff in the field.
Let's get a ×2 over here at 2740.
Okay.
So, folks, of course, this is the first cast coming back after Christmas anyway, so hopefully you guys have all had a wonderful holiday season. I will say it looks like Khers is a bit of a naughty boy because he's getting an awful lot of coal thrown at him. But regardless, I mean, we're heading our way towards a new year here, just like those Germans are trying to push into a town and establish a new neighborhood. Not really sure it's really the best of neighborhoods to kind of explore, but, I'm thankful for all the support you guys always kind of give us over the year. We're looking forward to having another great year with you.
Indeed, and next year should be pretty interesting with all of the new games. We've got Regiments, Broken Arrow, Warno, all Cold Draw. A lot of very 80s. Well, Broken Arrow is more modern, but yeah, it should be a pretty interesting year.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I know you and I've flirted with the idea of kind of indulging with our orkier side. I know that's something that maybe we can kind of tease for the moment. We haven't quite gotten there just yet, but good things are coming for this coming year. I'm looking forward to kind of sharing with all of you. Unfortunately, Khers' last little gasps of an attack going into this town, and these guys, of course, immediately going to get taken under fire by Smersh, immediately going to get blown up by as they charge through the streets, and these brave souls die like dogs. Really, over a town they have no idea where it is. So.
Because he does manage to get some infantry into here at least, but... Oh, actually manages to stabilize it to a 12-12, but...
Well, 13-11, really, and 14-10.
Whoa!
But this is more of the FU in the last second or two, so...
Yeah, it's not a very... great hold, and as we see, the infantry are managing to push back.
But regardless, well done, well played. I do kind of foresee a bit more of a spread on this KD.
Yeah, I think HerrRobert's definitely going to have a pretty high KD ratio. And only 1,000 or so difference, that's not too bad. I was expecting a little bit worse, frankly.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I think we're seeing part of it right here that, like, Irv, for example, taking out 3 Stugs. That Espenberg, excuse me, 5 infantry squads by himself. The T-26s. We have one T-26 that took out 2 Lukes and a Stug. IL-2, a Tiger and a Stug. LA-5, 3 kills. SU-76, 4 kills. And what we're kind of seeing here is that a lot of the stuff that was going down is just more expensive, and the 14th Infantry cannot take those kinds of losses over a sustained time period.
Yeah, it's just pretty brutal stuff, yeah. And then if we look at the losses, really nothing crazy.
Well, Grossland maybe at the absolute most, getting 4 vehicle kills.
Yeah.
Oh, and Looper. Yep.
Not okay, almost a tank case, yeah, but yeah, frankly, I mean, 14th Infantry, it's gone a little bit better thanks to the not last patch, but the patch earlier this year for it, but as we see, the 1v1 meta is really much about infantry spam and medium tank spam, and 7th Estonian has both of those in spades.
Exactly, and that's kind of hard to have an uphill battle when you don't have the infantry numbers to kind of consistently go up against something that is, well, not an entirely infantry focused deck. The 7th Estonian just it's too multifaceted.
Yeah, they're just very good in CQC fight. HerrRobert got a fantastic foothold up north. Also, I mean, Khers was pushing way too much up north, and he really should have stopped racing all of those Steiner's counterattacks up north and really focus a bit more down south and in center. He could use the longer range tanks to his advantage and try to get in close with the STGs and Stern Pioneers to clear through the forest.
Oh, no, yes, by the way, that was Shchedrin on the map. I just realized now. I did not mention that at all. But regardless, I think that's going to about do it for this particular replay, unless you have any other thoughts, sir?
Nope.
Well, folks, in that case, then, until Thursday, I'm Connell Work.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.